Is this a good time for you, Blake?
It is.
Okay, we'll call it to order 7:02. And start with roll call. Gail?
Dale? I'm here.
Blake Moore, present.
Chris Gombieski.
Rick Poland.
Todd Spurl.
Bob Paul, present.
Mike Wright. Next is approval of tonight's agenda. Anybody have anything to add?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Approval of minutes from May 23rd.
Okay,
Minutes.
2 corrections. I've already pointed them out to Hank, and that is on page whatever.
Is that right?
It's supposed to be and then come back, and it says, and then come ABC. So, it's a dyslexic writing of it. And on the next page, which was review of priority list for the master plan, Hank said, and it was a misquote, it should be, there are a couple of ways we could go about this discussion, not there is. You got an English teacher up here, so I'm gonna correct it.
Wow.
We'll be happy to make those corrections.
Thank you.
All right, looking for a motion?
Motion to approve. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Matter of site plan review for in addition to the Lopatin? Lopatin, is that right?
Close enough.
Close enough? Yep. Resident 13345 Victoria.
My name is Zach Ostroff, and I'm worked on the plans that are in front of you. And we were here last month and with a proposal, and we had some feedback, and we kind of modified the plan to accommodate the feedback. Essentially what we did, we changed it, and by our revisions, we've reduced or eliminated rather the entire variance for the front yard setback. So we no longer were in line with the existing house and no longer protruding out in front of the house. We've reduced the maximum house size by about 100 square feet, and also reduced the lot coverage. So essentially we're, you can see on the, I think it's sheet A2, I'm sorry, A1, with the floor plan that we're essentially coming out flush with the existing west side of the house. We're actually 4 inches back behind the existing front of the house. And you can see the roof lines and window arrangement pretty much stayed the same as it did on the previous version, but we've got a covered front porch. It's open, it's not enclosed, it's protruding out in front, and other than that, everything else stayed the same. But we just a basic reduction of I think it was just over 100 square feet.
Okay, thank you. Hank, anything to add?
Yeah, just for a little bit of clarification, there were 3 main variances that were required in order to move this forward. So the front yard variance, which was probably the most egregious of the bunch, was eliminated. Then we had the maximum house size, and again, Mr. Ostroff is starting with a house that is at 2,600 square feet right now. So it's already over. So what they're asking for is to go to 2872, where before it was 2935. So he does have a reduction in the square footage of what he's asking for, and also the lot coverage, which has proposed previously of 35.8, which is now at 35.3. So the variance required for that was 480 square feet and is now 417 square feet. So having said that, basically what he's done is he's just pushed the front of the house back to be flush, if you will, with the existing front of the house. So what I did put up on the board was the diagram so that you can see how the walls line up now, where before the left side as you're facing it was popping forward a bit. Mm-hmm. So now he's done this. So what the planning commission has, based on the fact that some of the stuff has changed, but nothing really with the bathroom and the room to the right as you come in, he's made the dining area smaller. Basically what you have to decide is, has he done enough to send this forward to the zoning board of appeals to decide on now the 2 variances instead of the 3 that were proposed before? And has there been a reduction that has been significant enough in your mind to pass it on with the understanding that you're not ruling on the variances.
Okay. We will, seeing no public, we will open and close participation. And Bob, you want to start us off?
I'm happy with the revised plans. I don't have any questions.
All right, thank you. Todd?
Same. No questions.
Thank you. Rick?
No questions.
Thank you. Chris?
No questions for me.
Thanks. Blake?
No questions, but I will just go on the record and say this house is still massive. You've essentially eliminated 100 square feet. It's
Right.
still a big rig.
You're correct.
Thanks, Blake. Gil?
I don't have questions, it's already over the 25-35 allowed for the lot at 2,600 square feet, the way it exists. I don't end up any questions, it's come down, but, you know, to be 2672, it's really big.
What's the finished square foot size?
2872.
2872, okay. Yeah, I don't have any other questions on that. Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to approve the plans as designed,
Subject to zoning board of appeals.
subject to zoning board of appeals.
Thank you, Chris.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Nay. Yes, opposed.
The carry?
Yeah,
You
you've got
got
five
five.
carries.
Okay.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Did you want plans back?
Not really.
Okay. We will appropriately recycle them.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Good luck at ZBA.
Thank you very much.
Matter of discussion of planning commission priority list.
So, Mr. Chair,
Can we do this without Sheldon?
yeah, you know, here's what I would suggest with this, and again, this is kind of where I was going, even though my memo was short. I would suggest adopting it as you have. You can always change it, you can always add things up to it.
Right.
Rather than spending time in future meetings going over it again and again and changing one thing or another, my suggestion would be let's go ahead and approve it as we have it. We know what we're already looking at, and I would like to give you an update on that so far. But once we get done with that, I'd like to at least have this in place so that we can do it. It's always can be changed. If somebody comes in with an idea, look, I really feel strongly about this, and the other members of the board say, you know what, you're right, you can always do that. You can always take something off the list. But the idea is that, you know, we're in June, and we should go ahead and finalize this. Part of it that we're already working on, which I'll update you on, but then the other parts are is you can pick another item, just be, you know, to start on too, because it doesn't just mean you work on one at a time, but you can't work on five.
Right.
But, you know, if you got a couple things going, that's good, and we're much more likely at that point in time to be able to go ahead and get some things done. So that I guess is what we're asking for this evening.
So you'd be looking for a motion to move forward with
The list.
priority list as presented?
That's correct.
With the ability to modify as needed later.
Absolutely.
Any questions? Any motions?
You said that so well. You just move on that.
I think so.
You said it perfectly.
Can I make a motion?
You can't.
Can he do that?
But I'll move what you said.
So Bob gave us so moved.
Second.
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so,
Master plan update.
the update on this is gonna be that we have started looking at the safe routes to school. We've actually had some contact with the,
That's a big one.
Berkeley, School Board talking about it. So we're also wading into discussions with Berkeley and Oak Park. Again, as a reminder, I've had a meeting with the Oak Park Traffic Control Committee. And then we're also looking at, We were looking at funding for the 11-mile road study. We applied for one grant, which had a limited amount of funds that they were giving out this year, but if you don't ask, you don't get. Unfortunately, we did not. But that doesn't mean we're gonna stop asking. At this point in time, we have to look for other ways to fund this, which may include going to the city commission and asking them for funding for this study.
Is this specific to the crossing at like Scotia or something, like basically putting a throwaway through?
Well, what we're looking at for the crosswalks and safe routes to school is a combination of a complete streets and a safe routes to school. And that applies to both Coolidge and that also applies to both 11 Mile.
Okay.
As we go through and we do this, we have crossings that, where Huntington Woods students cross twice a day with no crossing except for Coolidge and 11 Mile. And nobody goes up to Woodward, rather, to cross over there because it's way out of the way. Everybody's coming this way to go to the high school.
And I'm sure, nobody crosses at Coolidge either, right? They just,
Well, because they funnel, you
Yeah.
know, is what it is. So they were looking at two main cross streets, which one would be like right out here, and then the other would be possibly at Meadowcrest. And then they would pick up because of the distances between that, and if we had one here, then the distance to Coolidge would be less less.
Scotia seems to make the most sense, but.
Pardon me?
Scotia seems to make the most sense, but I guess that's what the study's for,
It,
right?
it does, and I mean, once they tell us what makes the most sense and what their best recommendations are, is that there may be things that they add in, such as potentially a recommendation of a lane reduction and a left turn lane, an island, a safe haven in the middle of the crossing. We won't know that until we get there, but those things kind of make sense and they're typical with what has been done. If you ever take a look at like 9 Mile in Ferndale, they've done some similar projects with that, and it's easier, people can get to the center island, and if they have to wait, they have a place to at least wait. They're not standing on some striping. So whether or not it's a trial case with a striping and then you go across and see what you have, that would make the most sense. But in any case, we would like to get some funding to go ahead for that. We have explored some of that, we have had some feedback, and I've had some conversations with Chris about some other, Chris Wilson, our city manager, about some other ideas as far as trying to get a hold of that. So those are things that have been already in and in the works. We have talked to our consultants that did our master plan, MKSK, about possibly being interested in continuing on to do that kind of work, and we have received a price from them. So whether or not we go on with that or we have to bid it, that I'm unsure of at this point in time. That'll be up to the city manager to decide as to how to best present that to the city commission, or in conjunction with myself, we would present that to the city commission. They're ultimately the body that's gonna have to fund this if they feel that that's something well worthwhile. And then, as some of you are aware, we have our finance director, Tim Rowland, has moved on to a position in the Points, and Ethan Hahn has stepped up and is our interim finance director. So this is gonna be kind of like a challenge, but we wanna move forward, so we're gonna ask. Whether they tell us yes or no remains to be seen, but I think it's something that's interesting for us to go ahead and do. Other than that, that's kind of the update as I have it on this, and I'd be certainly willing to entertain any questions you have, but that's where we're at with those right now.
Hank, the adoption hearing date, what is that?
For the master plan?
Yeah,
Okay, well, if we're moving on to the.
oh, I'm
master
sorry, I
plan.
kinda thought we,
Um,
that was a soft transition.
Well, that was very subtle. I like that.
It turned into bumps, right?
Speed bumps,
so-
we might need an island in the middle.
Nice
Exactly.
segue, nice segue. So what we're looking at for the master plan update, our review period's come to a close. We had some very nice supportive letters from Pleasant Ridge and Berkeley. And we also had a letter from Oakland County, based on the meeting which I was able to attend with our consultants from MKSK. And typically what they do is they write something to the effect that it's not in conflict with any of the master plans. That's as committal as they get, so that's kind of like saying, nice, you know, you're good to go. You haven't muddied the waters or stirred up anything. So we were happy to have that. What we would like to do is we would like a motion this evening to set the public hearing for July 25th. At that point in time, once I have the motion, I will be able to publicize it. Once I publicize it, that will be the final time where we take public comment or anything like that. And at that point in time, the document that we come to you with, we would be asking for approval. There is a couple things that we've incorporated based on a couple things that Oakland County said, that has become available that we would like to include in it. Substantively, there's no changes, there's just more resources listed. So those are the things that we would like to bring forward to you, and if I get the motion this evening to make it for the 25th, we would then go ahead and that, assuming approval, I would then schedule it for the August City Commission meeting for final adoption.
Can I ask, the 25th is our meeting date. Would
That
this
is
be in,
correct.
is this in lieu of our meeting and no other business is done that day?
No.
Or the public hearing is that day and?
Public hearing will be before we conduct any other
Okay.
business. There really won't be a ton of new comments at that point in time, and we won't really be doing any wholesale changes or anything. It's already been gone over, and the public has had, realistically, it was one of our communities even commented that we've had a lot of public participation, and I'm very excited that we did have that. But at this point in time, we will be having the meetings to ask for the adoption, but of course, we always will take public participation.
Any other questions on this? All right, looking for a motion to set the adoption hearing.
I so moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and I just want to also thank you all for your hard work on your master plan. Master plans aren't easy, they require a ton and a half of time and a big commitment, which you all fulfilled great. And we had some really good comments on it. I've talked to different people that have read it. I've talked to Scott Creed at Oakland County, and you know, they were very, very complimentary as to the work that was done on this master plan. So, we'll see what happens with it afterwards as far as awards or anything like that, but I always lobby for those. So, we'll see, but in the meantime, we need to get it approved, so I appreciate your setting it for the 25th, and I will make the proper notifications and advertisements. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Perfect. Seeing no public participation tonight, looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Hank.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask a dumb